Good afternoon. Welcome to the 2024 Veterans Memorial Service. I'm Mark McCown. It's a great honor to serve as your Master of Ceremonies for the Parade Committee today. I do have great news for those of you that were here last year. The rain's not supposed to hit until about 4 o'clock. So for those of you that survived it with us, we appreciate you coming back this year to join with us today. For over 150 years, the citizens of Lawrence County have gathered to pay homage to those who committed themselves to the defense of this great nation. What began as the Grand Army of the Republic's Decoration Day, a day to place flowers on the graves of those Civil War veterans who gave their lives in battle to keep our nation together. It has transformed over the years into other traditions. These traditions are important. They help educate our youth about our history. They provide an opportunity for each of us to take a break from our busy lives and focus on our love for our nation and community. And, God willing, for a few days, they help us to set aside our political differences in pursuit of a single goal: honoring our fallen heroes. These heroes died to preserve our freedoms, and it is incumbent upon us to use those freedoms responsibly. We see in the media every day conflict in our country and our national elected leaders bickering among themselves, veterans funding and healthcare being used as pawns, oftentimes by dysfunctional Congress. But if you listen to the pundits of any political persuasion, well, these are dark times. But it causes us to pause and wonder, are we worthy of the sacrifice of those who lay in these graves? We see something else. We see elected officials coming out to support us here. We see a judge sitting behind us who serves not only as a judge, but as a lieutenant colonel in the United States Army Reserve. They support projects such as the flags you see flying behind us. That was an Eagle Scout project and now bears the standards of each of the branches of the United States Armed Forces. And for those of you who haven't seen it, the long path that goes down to the mausoleum from here, that was an Eagle Scout project by one of the scouts from Troop 106, Luke Davison, who's here today. These American ideals and spirit, these things are why veterans fought and died, why our military stands ready today, and why Lawrence Countyans will always rise to defend this great nation. We recognize the sacrifices that all veterans have made, as well as their families, and we acknowledge that we must do better to serve them. And so while it's always proper to celebrate our freedom and recognize our veterans with parades and celebrations, it's not why we're here today. That's not what Memorial Day is about. Memorial Day is our day of remembrance of heroes who fell on the battlefield. As General John Logan stated in his proclamation for Decoration Day, this day is designated for the purpose of strewing with flowers or otherwise decorating the graves of the comrades who died in defense of their country. The cost of freedom has always been high. Each year we gather among these flags, these tombstones, to honor the memories of our warriors who earned that freedom for us and to reflect upon the great cost borne by them. These are the graves of lives cut short. They willingly traded all their potential to defend our democracy and gave that ultimate sacrifice so that we might gather here today. Since the founding of our nation 248 years ago, over 1 million sons and daughters of our American Union have sacrificed at the altar of freedom. We're familiar with some of the more famous stories, the fighting Sullivan brothers lost in the sinking of the USS Juneau, the letter sent to Lydia Bixby of Boston by President Abraham Lincoln, the heroism of Navy SEAL Lieutenant Michael Murphy in Afghanistan. While they're rightfully glorified in movies and pop culture, there are so many more with lesser known stories who gave just as high a price. Today we honor them, and we recommit ourselves to all current and future members of our military that should you give up the ultimate sacrifice, no matter the season or the conditions of our nations, we as citizens and patriots will guard your hallowed graves with sacred vigil. To begin our service, I ask Brother Chad Pemberton, please step forward and deliver the invocation.
So I'll bow our heads for a moment. Our Father in heaven, we very humbly bow our heads before you this afternoon. We thank you once again, God, for allowing us to gather here on this Memorial Day service. We ask God that you'd help us to honor those that died on the battlefield for our freedom, and help each one of us, Lord, to understand why we are here. God, give us the ability, Father, in our minds to be so thankful that we live where we live and we have what we have. We ask, Lord, that you touch each speaker, help them to have a clear voice and a clear mind. Help us have understanding hearts and clear minds of ourselves to be able to hear what they're saying. And just be with us down through this day and help us to honor you and honor your Son, Jesus Christ. And it's in his name we pray.
Thank you, Brother Pemberton. I ask all of you here, please, if you would stand and direct your attention as the veterans of Ironton Veterans Foreign Wars Post 8850 post the colors. Please remain standing for the Pledge of Allegiance and the national anthem performed by the Rockville High School. Gentlemen. I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America, and to the republic for which it stands, one nation under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. Oh, say, remarks, it's my pleasure to introduce to you some of our honored guests that we have up here. This year's parade grand marshal is Ron Thomas, who was unable to be here. He's a longtime member of the parade committee, who first participated in the parade in 1948. This year's parade commander is Ray Jones, to your left, who has served the parade committee for many, many years. Thank you both for your hard work and diligence in planning this year's events. We're also very pleased to recognize this year's honorary Grand Marshal, Lieutenant Colonel Patricia Sanders, who not only serves our nation in the military in the United States Army Reserve, but has diligently served our community by protecting and fighting for our youth as probate juvenile judge, Patricia Sanders. Judge Sanders, it is the parade committee who's honored by your acceptance and service today as honorary Grand Marshal. There are many people who have these, the planning and behind the scenes, Rich and Lori Donahue, Brent and Lou Piles, of course. Thank you also for the Rock Hill Choir. Today, we are honored to have with us Master Gunnery Sergeant Paul Seitz of South Point, Ohio. Master Gunnery Sergeant Seitz enlisted in the United States Marine Corps in March 1989 and was shipped to Parris Island. While assigned to the 2nd Battalion, 4th Marine Regiment, Master Gunnery Sergeant Seitz served as radio operator, team leader, scout swimmer, squad leader, and platoon guide while assigned to a boat company. He was deployed with the USS Ponce and USS Shreveport in 2 Mediterranean cruises with the 22nd and 24th Marine Expeditionary Units. Master Gunnery Sergeant Seitz was also deployed for special training. He was involved in 3 operations while assigned to 2 forces, starting with Operation Sharp Edge off the coast of Monrovia, Liberia in 1990, and later that same year he was deployed to Operation Desert Storm and Desert Shield, participating in the Gulf War. Once he returned from there, he participated in Super Squad and was one of the few selected to participate in a special offload in Blunt Island, Jacksonville, Florida as Corporal Guard. Master Gunnery Sergeant Seitz went on to serve on recruiting duty and served in the following areas: recruiting station headquarters command group member, district contact team member, and recruiting instructor. He's also one of the first and select few to become a master trainer in his military occupational field. He retired after 23 years of service in 2011, has been an instructor of the ROTC at Grant County High School since then. He is meritoriously promoted 4 times while serving in the United States Marine Corps, and his personal awards and decorations include Meritorious Service Medal, Navy and Marine Corps Commendation Medal with 3 gold stars, Navy and Marine Corps Achievement Medal with 1 gold star, Good Conduct Medal with silver and bronze star, and the Combat Action. Master Gunnery Sergeant Seitz.
Well, good afternoon. Hey, first of all, I may be loud. I talk loud, probably to my hard hearing. Good afternoon. Thanks to Lou Piles for bringing me out here. Sure, there's a lot more people more qualified, more deserving to speak, and you know, even though in the military you speak at a lot of events, it seems like Memorial Day is one of the hardest to speak at, because you don't know if you say enough, you don't know if you give enough honor, gratitude, and things to the fallen. But hey, here I am. First of all, I'd like to apologize for the uniform. This morning I had my dress blues, what the Army, their service alphas, dress whites. But after I got thinking about it, hey, the people we honor today, they wore for the last time, they put this on and never took it off. And I just figured it'd be, you know, telling to wear a uniform, combat uniform, something that resembles what a lot of our fallen soldiers wore for the last time of their life. So I'm not going to bore you. You know, they read my bio. I'm not going to talk about Decoration Day being 1868 for the people who preserved our Union, or how it took a different meaning on World War I, where we started remembering the people who passed in our battles, or Armed Forces Day for the ones who's serving now, Veterans Day who served. But I will talk about Memorial Day and those who gave their ultimate sacrifice. I'll do this by telling a quick story. I'm sure I see a lot of Army veterans in here. As a Marine, it's hard for me to tell a story about an Army person, an Army soldier, but I will. And I'm just joking, but I'll tell a story about a gentleman, which is a kind of a unique story, and then that him and his family experienced. Then I'll end with some facts and a challenge. But tomorrow, you know, first of all, we'll go out, we'll observe the parade, longest running in America. I think that's pretty awesome in Ironton, Ohio. We'll have cookouts, we'll spend time with the loved ones. But, you know, we'll honor those who fought to preserve a nation. A nation not only for particular people, but an idea. It's all an idea. An idea of all men, which people, were created equal and that they are endowed by their Creator with certain unalienable rights, that among these are life, liberty, and a pursuit of happiness. So if there's ever an idea to go fight and battle for, I think this was one heck of an idea. And these are protected today, and our rights and things are still by people in uniform, still protected and still losing people left and right. So we owe them this day, and it's an honor. I'll be with my family and loved ones tomorrow to celebrate, to honor those. But the story I was going to tell is about a gentleman by the name of William Crawford. I'll tell a little bit about it, but if you've never looked, William Crawford was born in Colorado. Found himself enlisted into the Army. Real quick, he found himself over in southern Italy. He was in a battle. Him and his sergeant, platoon sergeant, moved forward, started taking gunfire. Private Crawford looked over to the sergeant for some information, some instructions, and he lay motionless. He'd already taken on some rounds, and he had already lost his life. So Private Crawford, he grabbed his rifle, his bayonet, a handful of hand grenades, and he went and took out 3 enemy machine gun nests, which allowed his unit to move forward and to go on and win the Battle of 424. Mr. Crawford, shortly after that, he was captured. He became a POW. So, as the United States does, hey, a hero, he was to be honored. We brought his family to Washington. We honored him with a Medal of Honor, and you know, he was pretty much presumed dead. About a year later, the Americans freed some POWs, and in this group, here was Private Crawford. He had survived. Private Crawford came back. He re-enlisted in the Army, spent 20 years, and retired in 1967. That time he went back home to Colorado, and in Colorado we have the Air Force Academy. Mr. Crawford went there and became a janitor. Mr. Crawford was a very shy man.